What's going on, everyone? It is 11:53 p.m. on Friday night. The market looks so terrible. I'm not going to put it up on my screen. We all know how red it is. But with that being said, I wanted to go through some news that I find very inspiring and hopeful. The tides are turning. Do not buy the news. You need to sell the news and buy the rumor, and that's where we're going to go. But first, when private companies are building a new economy beyond our planet, can you say intergalactic currency? Remember PayPal Galactic? Remember where Elon Musk started? Now SpaceX? Bitcoin is a distraction, all planned. It's coming from Digital Asset Investor. You guys already know about him. Let's watch this video. This is the United States Space Force video. I get excited every time I watch it because I'm just a nerd like that, but we're going to watch it. Here we go.
Today, space is essential not only to our way of life, it's absolutely critical to the modern way of war. GPS, ATMs, cell phones, gas pumps, traffic lights, power grids, guided missiles, surveillance, RPAs, ground combat control. There's no such thing as a day without space operations. You just don't see them. Earth is only half the battle. Cyber attacks and jamming of our satellites. Microsatellites that can create a debris field. At 17,000 miles an hour, a piece of metal the size of a coin can be weaponized. Now is the time for a military branch with a clear and singular focus on space. A military branch that protects the hopes and dreams of America and our way of life as the space domain becomes more and more contested. It's time for another giant leap. The United States Space Force is being built from the brightest minds across the space operations of the Air Force, our joint services, and the private sector. We aren't just getting ready for the near future, we're getting ready for the 22nd century. When our enemies ask, what if? We will have an answer. When foreign powers can build bases on the dark side of the moon, when private companies are inventing a new economy beyond our planet, we need to stay one step ahead of the future. And the future is where we'll make history. We will fight in an environment with no up or down, no left or right, where there are no borders and nowhere to hide. Our Space Force is defending our country, here on Earth and wherever our mission takes us. As commerce and exploration expand, we will imagine the unimaginable, anticipate the inconceivable, and prepare for the impossible. We won't just think outside the box. We'll think outside the atmosphere, in one of the most challenging environments ever known.
If that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will. He even said, it kind of reminds me of this. And then here is a picture of David Schwartz with the United States Space Force punching an alien in the face while holding, is that a security that he's got in his hand there? That's what this guy says. He's got a Ripple cupcake in his hand from the looks of it. And is he implying something here? Is David Schwartz a Riddler? I don't know. Sometimes it does seem like it. That's for sure. There's definitely some... and with his background, it would not surprise me. Anyway, this is just because... Yeah, this is Charles Hoskinson basically calling Bitcoin the Uncle Rico of digital assets. Check this guy out. He was one of the original 8 for Ethereum and now the founder of Cardano, which is a fantastic project.
It is so slow. It's like the mainframe programming of the past, and it's the only reason it's still around is because there was so much invested in keeping it around that we just kind of have to leave it there. And one day, COBOL will die. There's nothing about it from a collection of USPs that's particularly desirable. You have extremely long settlement time. You have extremely low programmability. It is not aware of any other system. There's no native way of issuing an asset in that system. You can't even do a pull transaction. I mean, you can't do anything that's interesting or unique there. And yeah, all due respect, it's, mafia, all due respect, Tony. You got some problems.
You
need
come
to lose
to
some
me
weight.
on the day of my daughter's wedding.
I know. So, all due respect to the Bitcoin people, it's like an amazing, incredible first generation thing. And we're all here because of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. But the problem is you have to upgrade the damn thing. Just because you were a high school football star doesn't mean that 30 years later, you're still a high school football star in the same shape. You got the beer belly, you're old, you're not doing this thing again. And that's what Bitcoin has to do. There's fundamental improvements that I think Bitcoin can make at the protocol level that would actually make it an incredibly competitive system. Like if they wanted to keep Nakamoto consensus, proof of work, there's ways to enhance proof of work. I mean, Amin Gansir did this with Bitcoin NG, Pramod Viswanas did this with Prism. Make it 10,000 times faster, and you don't compromise the fundamental security assumptions that the system has. You can add programmability to it. Blockstream created a language called Simplicity. So there's actual ways to extend, and we did this with Cardano with the extended UTXO model. There's ways to extend what Bitcoin has, keep the philosophy, the accounting, the way of thinking about transactions, but then suddenly you can now do DeFi and other things. But what they've done is said, we will not evolve the base layer at all, and we're just going to build all this layer 2 stuff, which is usually highly fragile and centralized and requires enormous effort at the base level to do anything. It's not a coincidence. Vitalik started as a color coins guy and a master coin guy, hanging out in those circles. He was trying to innovate and do things in Bitcoin, and it was so hard and difficult that he started diverging and going.
Pretty interesting. Charles Hoskinson's awesome. Went in here and I found another thing about Hedera. I just thought this was really cool. It's almost 4 minutes long, but you guys know I'm all about HBAR and Hedera, so this is kind of a little bit of a history, like a trailer for the token and the network itself. Check this out.
It started with a vision for how the internet should work, how it could work.
It really should be possible for anyone to just kind of wave their hand and carve out a piece of cyberspace and create a world of their own.
But the technology to achieve such a vision simply did not exist.
There's no way that you can have really high throughput and also have all these security and fairness properties. I was able to convince myself it's not possible. And I set it aside, and it would come back and haunt me, and it would keep nagging at me. And so I would pick it up again and set it aside again, and this kept going for years.
3 years later, Lehman had a breakthrough, the hashgraph consensus algorithm.
Wait a second. If we're all just talking to each other, and you include a tiny bit of extra information, we could each end up with a complete history of exactly how we talked to each other in what order. I would know so much that I could take one of those huge, impractical, impossible, too slow voting algorithms and do it with no votes at all. I know how you would vote, so don't bother voting. Don't tell me your vote, I know it. And it gives us this entire history. The history is called a hash graph.
In 2015, Mance and Lehman founded Schwartz to battle test the algorithm in permissioned environments. And the following year, Lehman published the technical paper. Then in 2017, Hashgraph was introduced to the world.
We've just come out of stealth. Hashgraph is the future of blockchain tech.
But to realize a fairer, more secure digital future for all, where the internet belongs to you, the world needed a trust layer of the internet, a public ledger built on Hashgraph.
I'm pleased to introduce you to Hedera. It is a public hashgraph network with a world-class governing council.
This is it. We are about to launch the Hedera mainnet and mint 50 billion HBARs. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
That's it. Congratulations.
Yep. Mainnet is live. We've just wrapped up our first 8-city global decentralized hackathon. This is called an HBAR. This is our symbol that we believe is going to change the world. We're very excited to be here in Seoul. I'm very proud to be able to announce the first set of council members.
We're talking about the Hedera Consensus Service. This is a new service.
Okay, It looks like we are down to the final seconds here.
3, 2, 1. Open access.
The network is open. As of this moment, we have council member nodes online, ready to take transactions from anyone, anywhere in the world.
And this year, we've seen exponential growth on the network, surpassing the daily transaction volume of Ethereum in just 9 months, welcoming new council members, and seeing dozens of game-changing applications deployed on Hedera. We can't wait to see what the next year brings. Hello, future.
Super bullish. You can get those for about 20 cents right now. It's not financial advice. Over here, we got hedge fund billionaire Steve Cohen says he is fully converted to crypto. He does not care about the Bitcoin price, but he does care about blockchain technology. If you're wondering who he is, this doesn't really tell you who he is, but it tells you that he's got $14 billion as of May. So if he's fully converted, I can only imagine how much money he's got in crypto. This was something I just saw tonight that came out. They're talking about the Bank of Canada, and this was like a little news thing that was on.
Bitcoin is probably the best.
Let's start it over. Here we go.
Bitcoin is probably the best known digital currency in the world. A digital currency is available exclusively in electronic form, and a central bank issued digital currency, unlike Bitcoin, which isn't controlled by a single entity, would be issued and overseen by a central bank. One of the biggest challenges would be figuring out how to take existing currency, loonies and bills, and convert it into a purely digital form. Cash use has decreased dramatically during the pandemic for health and practical reasons. More than 80% of central banks around the world are researching how to leverage this technology, including the Bank of Canada, which has been studying digital currencies for 7 years. But China is the only major economy that started real-life trials.
For 7 years, they've been studying CBDCs, guys. This is not new. And on top of that, you'll keep hearing, they keep referring to the pandemic has a lot to do with all this. The pandemic really was like a shift. It caused, I'm not going to weigh in on my actual opinion on the whole thing, but it has caused a shift in the entire world as we know it. And that's just the facts.
This month, it's giving out more than $7.7 million worth of digital yuan as part of a pilot project. Observers say it's preparing a national launch, a move to lower transaction costs, spur economic growth, and with an eye to giving the U.S. a run for its money as the world's dominant currency.
It's very important, given the pace of progress that's happening in China, that countries like Canada and the U.S. stop studying and start doing. I think that there are benefits to central bank digital currencies if done correctly.
In an email to Global News, the Bank of Canada highlighted recent remarks by Governor Tiff Macklem, who said because of COVID-19, the case for digital currency becomes more compelling. The pandemic-induced economic crisis highlights the case for a central bank-issued digital currency, which could be used to deliver targeted stimulus.
You could respond more quickly to crises. You could also get money into the economy more quickly in times of big crises, like, say, the COVID pandemic. You need to put $1,000 in everybody's bank account every couple of weeks.
But observers warn privacy issues would need to be weighed carefully. The Bank of Canada says it needs more time to examine the pros and cons of launching a digital currency, adopting a wait-and-see approach like the U.S., Japan, and France.
We have very high standards in terms of the acceptable level of privacy and resilience and convenience that we would attach to a digital currency if we were to launch one.
Anne Gaviola, Global News, Toronto.
Pretty interesting. Ethereum's London hard fork set to go live on testnet starting June 24th. 3 Ethereum testnets now have set a date for the London hard fork, a key step toward a full mainnet implementation. The highly anticipated London Ethereum hard fork now has a set block height for 3 testnets, a key penultimate step, I do not know how to say that word, step toward a full mainnet launch. Where's it at here? An overhaul of Ethereum's existing free structure, so really about a minor revolt. Decentralized nature of blockchain system makes a network upgrade more difficult. Network upgrades in a blockchain require cooperation and communication with the community, as well as with the developers of the various Ethereum clients in order for the transition to go smoothly. And from what I understand, this should take... Yeah, here it is. It's expected to reduce gas costs for users significantly. It may also cut into miner revenues by upwards of 50%, which has led to some grumblings about a miner revolt that has largely failed to materialize as of now. Who knows? Pro Basketball League in Canada will offer player Bitcoin salaries. The ability to have part of my salary go directly into an investment that I believe will appreciate greatly over the next 10 to 30 years is a no-brainer. I think that's pretty cool. My whole point with a lot of these articles, you notice it's a lot of Ethereum, a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of this stuff. Bitcoin drives this market that is undeniable, and I just want to go the narrative. That's everybody's been in fear now for like a whole month. It was slowly starting to rise. Now we're kind of getting back down here into like the 34,000 range with Bitcoin again. But trust me, guys, don't pay. But I don't even say it like that. I'm not paying attention to the prices of this stuff right now. I know it's going up, and I think that all this stuff just plays right into it. This is from Anthony Pompliano, who is not one of my favorite people. I believe he is bought and paid for as they come. But they took some graphs on here that were from the mainnet, right? Where's the one that he had here? Yeah, here we go, from Glassnode. So if you look at this, the red is when the long-term holder net position change. The green is long-term holder net position change as well, just to the upside. So when you look at it, when we're in these peaks, once we get there, it's interesting. Big sell-off. Every time. I mean, here we're on the rise and we're still getting it, but as we're falling, and so as you see now, right here, they were selling like crazy on the way off. They were moving it onto exchanges and out of wallets, out of cold wallets and stuff is basically what it was. And then you notice now, after it's been crashing, this is way back up again, that people are putting them back into their cold storage and off the exchanges again. So it does show you, when you look at those types of metrics, this shows Bitcoin's being extremely oversold on here. I do think we're getting ready to go off again. It really shows it with that on-chain data there. This is huge. Goldman Sachs Bitcoin futures trading liquidity partnership with Galaxy Digital. Now, that is a big deal. And why is that a big deal? Well, for one, it's Goldman Sachs. That's, the Mac Daddy of the finance companies. They're huge. Galaxy Digital is a pretty cool company. They do asset management. They got custody, investment banking. They mine, portfolio and taxes. You see all the stuff they do, right? Well, the cool thing about who owns and who is the CEO and chairman is Michael Novogratz. He loves some Bitcoin. He also is invested heavily in Ripple and in XRP. He's a smart man. He was formerly a partner and president of Fortress Investment Group. Prior to Fortress, he spent 11 years at Goldman Sachs, where he was elected partner in 1998. He served on the New York Federal Reserve's Investment Advisory Committee on Financial Markets from 2012 to 2015. He also serves as the chairman of the Bail Project and has made criminal justice reform a focus of his family's foundation. I did not know that. It's interesting. He also serves as the chairman of Hudson River Park Friends and sits on the board of the NYU Langone Medical Center, the Princeton Varsity Club, Jazz Foundation of America, and Artists for Peace and Justice. Mr. Novogratz received an AB in economics from Princeton University and served as a helicopter pilot in the U.S. Army. Yeah, so it's a big deal, man. Mike Novogratz is a big-time guy. He's going back to his buddies over at Goldman. They're doing some stuff with Bitcoin. You can see it get crazy real quick. I mean, Goldman carries a lot of assets. And I'm going to end this video with a pretty cool update. If you watched my last video about the whole Kendra Hill thing, it was really interesting. If you haven't, you should go check it out. It's long, but if you're into like the whole rabbit hole journey, you'll like it. But what was interesting about that is, long story short, if you didn't see it, Now, I'm not even going to tell you. Go watch the video. But this is what was cool, is that this happened when I posted the video. And if you've seen the video, you can imagine how mind-blowing this is to me, and it probably is blowing your mind a little bit too. Go look into that. Watch the video. Check out her profile. Interesting stuff. That's going to do it for me, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, post it on Facebook, Twitter, somewhere like that, whatever. I will see you guys on the next one.